Leg je voeten op, leg je voeten op, hop, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, oh, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, hop, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, oh, leg je voeten op. En begin spring, spring, spring. Want liefde is een lied en jij moet zing, zing, zing. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zing. Het is tijd dat ons meer dankie zegt voor alles wat ons heeft. En voor die schoenen aan ons voeten en die kleren aan ons lijf en die kosties wat ons ziet. En dankie voor die weg waarin ik elke dag mag rijden. Alles hier die blackse highways niet voor mij. Leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want liefde is een lied en jij moet zing, zing, zing. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. En dankie voor elke nieuwe dag wat ons mag zien. En voor je van die zon wat schijnt door elke lieve in. En dankie voor die huis waarin ons woont hier in die stad. Al verlang ons naar die stilte van die veld of dankie zie. Leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want liefde is een lied en jij moet zing, zing, zing. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Leg je voeten op, leg je voeten op, hop, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, oh, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, hop, leg je voeten op. Leg je voeten op, oh, leg je voeten op. En begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied en jij moet zing, zing, zing. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied en jij moet zing, zing, zing. Oh, leg je voeten op en begin spring, spring, spring. Want die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Oh, die liefde is een lied, kom laat ons zingen. Laat ons zingen.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Well, microphone's not working. Hang on. What's that all about? Hang on there a second, folks. Hang on. Okay. Hello. There we go. All right. Good Lord, man. The tech issues just don't seem to stop. Wow. Just loving it there. Shouldn't have had to open that software up, but let me just double check and make sure we're getting a feed here from the microphone. There it is. Looks like it's good. 5x5. Well, good morning, folks. Goedemorgen, South Africa. Hey. Good evening, U.S. Welcome back, folks. It is now Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2024, here on the East Coast of the United States. It's an East Coast Night Owls. Hey, folks, let's get the freak off going on here. Who's got the baby oil? Come on, break it out. I know somebody out there's got a bottle of baby oil. You know you do. Don't be shy. Break it out. Let's do this one for P. Diddy, man. Get your baby oil out. P. Diddy's busy not dropping the soap at this hour. Well, will his roommate be R. Kelly? That's the question. Ladies and gentlemen, P. Diddy Combs denied bail today by a court in New York City. Crazy. Yep. Crazy stuff there. Well, look at that. Look at me drinking this big cup of Joe right here from Starbucks. That is actually a cappuccino. Drinking some coffee after midnight here. Just proof positive that the caffeine is something I'm inured to, because I'll be hitting a rack after this, and it won't be a problem. I'll be out, lights out. Well, just thought I'd say hey to everybody, see how it's going on out there. A little bit of late night. They got a caravan to midnight like John B. Wells. We're past midnight now. So why is there something on my shirt? It's just driving me nuts. This little spot there. Did a flag burning tonight. No, it wasn't a protest against the government. It was a respectful flag, dignified flag burning, the official way to dispose of disused flags. Did it with the scouts. Went out to their camp, and we burned the flags. Good evening, RJ. How's it going? Sedgefield, welcome to you. Don't answer your pager. They got hit. It's starting. Yeah, we're going to talk about the pagers tonight, folks. And I'm also going to show you a very ironic web page from the producer of the model of pager. One of them was found. And confirmation tonight from sources that apparently it wasn't just the device's battery that's made it explode, but supposedly Israeli operatives intercepted this shipment coming from Europe that was purchased on behalf of the Hezbollah group. Don't want to be demonetized. Can't say that word. They automatically limit your marketability. But they intercepted these pagers and placed explosive devices in them, and then decided when they'd set them off. Now, before everybody gets all teary-eyed about how cruel and inhumane this is, bear in mind that Hezbollah doesn't exactly hand out their pagers at a weekend gathering. They only go to operatives inside the organization. Now, is it possible innocents were injured? Sure. But the reality is that these were targeted for the people who are responsible for carnage, death, torture, mayhem, and all kinds of horrific other things. So empathy for them is pretty low at this hour. But let's get on to some of the things to talk about here tonight. First off, folks, I've got this video. This is the one. This is the only. Where's she at? Here she is. Let's bring up none other than Hillary Rodham Clinton, the woman famously named after Sir Edmund Hillary. Of course, it's a lie. It's an absolute lie. She was already born before he ever climbed Mount Everest. What a typical gas bag, preening liar. She also claimed that she was under fire, shot at when she was at the airport in Sarajevo. Biggest lie in the history of the 20th century. Well, one of the biggest lies. Anyway, Hillary Clinton, this is her in her own words on PMSNBC. And this is what she had to say about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
And boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly.
Their Americans are engaged in this kind of propaganda. So your free speech, your free opinion, which is protected under the Constitution, which limits the powers of this draconian, fascist, leftist, liberal scumbag government that seeks to turn us all into serfs, is limited by this document, a document which has been shred to pieces and urinated and defecated on by the Democrats and members of Congress for nigh on a century. And they just picked up the pace of late. She has no respect for the Constitution. She has no respect for liberty. She has no respect for human beings. She is a vile, repulsive, slime swamp creature who has latched on to fame and sucked the money out of us. And who knows what they lifted and pilfered from the Haitian relief effort and how much money they got from the Chinese for selling them illegally air defense systems during the 1990s, the Clinton cabal. But let's hear what she has to say about Americans expressing free speech, a natural right protected by the Constitution. This is what old Hillary has to say now. By the way, I've never called her Hillary before. It's the first time. And no, we're not talking about Vince Foster. Everyone's calling her that now, so I'm going to call her that now too.
Or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a...
So this preening gas bag criminal, she's a felon, by the way. And I stand by that. She can go ahead and say whatever she wants to me. But Hillary Clinton is a felon. I do know the Espionage Act. I do know for a fact that she violated the Espionage Act, committed felonies, multiple felonies. And just in case anybody's concerned or confused about what those felonies are, I'll just run through a list of some of those federal felonies in violation of the U.S. Espionage Act, which would get service members or low-level State Department employees in prison for years, if not decades. Number one, entered a top secret sensitive compartment information facility with illegal means to commit felony crimes. Accessing a government information system illegally, copying top secret sensitive compartment information illegally onto removable media. First off, sticking the media in the device, then copying onto the device, then removing the device. Those are all felony convictions, subject, I think, to 3 to 5 years per conviction. On top of that, then she removed the media from the secure facility. That's another felony. We're up to 5 already. Then it was transported somewhere. That's 6. Then it was stored in an insecure, compromised, unclassified location, not in a SCIF, 7 felonies. And then it was transmitted to people over unclassified email, 8. And it was stored on a server in a facility and not secure properly. That's 9 felony convictions. This woman should be in prison for the rest of her life. She has the audacity now to call for the imprisonment of Americans who are exercising free speech. This is a repulsive swamp creature of the highest order. Why is anybody listening to this demonic lunatic? Because that's what she is. Hillary Clinton is a demonic lunatic. Let's hear what she has to say about Americans expressing their First Amendment rights.
Better deterrence because...
Oh, sorry, that's it. She wants a deterrent by putting us in prison for expressing free speech. Yeah, piss off. Foot sec is what South Africans would say in Afrikaans to her. Yeah, and right. Then, of course, she has the willful, there's obstruction of justice. That's another felony. There is willful destruction of classified information. That's another felony. I didn't even add those on. I'm just talking about the, what she did before. RJ with a bad joke about what came over the pager. No, I don't think that's what came over the pager. Probably gotcha. And yep. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, so let's get to this pager story here. We're going to talk about P. Diddy and the soap. Ooh, that sounds like a soap opera. P. Diddy and the soap. Yeah, scientists think speech is not free anymore. No, it's not. It's certainly not in South Africa. It hasn't been since 1995, the promulgation of your current constitution. Criminalized speech. You're not allowed to have speech. Well, this low light isn't really helping. It looks like I'm jumping around, so let's jump it up a little bit. Notch that light up a little bit. If that's a little bit better. That seems a little bit better. Israel's war on Gaza live. This has nothing to do with Gaza. Hezbollah blames Israel for the Lebanon pager blast. This in Al Jazeera, folks. Let's get on into this at the midnight hour, since you guys aren't chatting much over here. Hezbollah said it holds Israel fully responsible for the pager explosions across Lebanon, which killed at least 9 people. I've heard it's higher than that now, and wounded 2,750, including a young girl. I did say there would be some innocents involved. At least 200 of the wounded are in critical condition. Israel has declined to comment on the detonations. The simultaneous explosions came less than 24 hours after the Israeli cabinet expanded goals for the war on Gaza to include returning residents displaced by Hezbollah attacks in northern Israel to their homes. Yeah, so the Israeli government has yet to respond to this, yet they're being blamed for it. And, people were asking all kinds of questions. So the Washington Post, now this has been published some time ago now. What time is this? No, it's recently, 11 o'clock. And this is interesting because this is obviously something written many hours ago before the facts came out. But this is what the Washington Post is saying. What we know about the pager attacks. At 3:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday in Lebanon, thousands of pagers used by a militant group, Hezbollah. They're not a militant group. They're a T group. They're a T group, Washington Post. They're not a militant group. Black Lives Matter is a militant group. Black Lives Matter is a militant group. Planned Parenthood is a militant group. The Democrats are arguably a militant group. Hezbollah is not a militant group. It is a T organization. Good Lord. Wounding at least 2,800 people and killing at least 9, according to health officials. A massive apparent attack raised immediate questions about how the tiny devices could have exploded at the same time. Well, duh. Someone sent a signal. Hezbollah blamed the attack in Israel. The IDF declined to comment on whether it was responsible. Yep. Israel uses sophisticated cyber espionage methods to spy and track members of militant T groups it opposes, including Hamas and Hezbollah. Anyway, how did they explode? Well, they're saying the Israeli operatives probably intercepted the pagers somewhere in the supply chain before Hezbollah got possession of them and rigged them with explosives, according to Emily Harding, Deputy Director of the International Security Program at the Center for Strategic International Studies. Now, she has no evidence of it. That's a claim, and that's being spread around like that's what it is. Now, it seems highly probable, but instead of saying it's possible, instead of saying this is analysis, they're reporting as if it's actually factual, and they've not proven any of this. That is a problem when it comes to news reporting, folks. Videos posted on the attack on social media suggest that explosive devices were integrated into the pagers. says N.R. Jensen Jones, director of the Armament Research Services, a weapons research firm. The scale suggests a complex supply chain attack rather than a scenario in which the devices were intercepted and modified in transit. Cell phones long ago replaced pagers for most people, but some people still use them, particularly pimps, drug dealers, and organized crime. Two photos published on social media in the aftermath of the attack showed the singed and crumbled black panels of pagers with gold written in text above a model number AR9. The design of the text matches that emblazoned on the back of the AR924 pager model produced by Gold Apollo Company, which uses a lithium battery. Gold Apollo Company is based in Taiwan, but they claim that this model was produced under license to a European manufacturer and they had nothing to do with its manufacturing. Well, probably, RJ, because they never went through airports. You don't honestly think that Hezbollah just placed an order with Amazon and that's how they got them. These pagers were clearly produced at some company in Europe and loaded onto a ship and shipped to Beirut. Pretty simple. Yep, Gold Apollo is based in Taiwan, one of the primary producers of pagers in the world. Representative of the company did not respond to a request for comment. The company's founder, Hu Xing-kong, told reporters today, Wednesday, that Gold Apollo did not make the pagers that were used, according to Reuters. They were manufactured by a company in Europe that had the right to use the firm's brand without naming the company. This looks to be perhaps the most extensive physical supply chain attack in history, said Dmitry Appelrovich, chairman of Silverado Policy Accelerator National Security think tank. No, I don't think so. I think we've seen other more extensive cyber attacks than this one here. So anyway. In July, Reuters had reported that Hezbollah had turned to pagers in recent months for communication after banning the use of cell phones on the battlefield because Israel could pinpoint their locations and target the cell phones. Duh. Pagers don't have cameras or microphones, making them less risky for people who are concerned about surveillance. True. So could Israel have carried out this attack? Well, Israeli cyber capabilities are well known. The IDF's Unit 8200, composed of thousands of soldiers, develops technology to collect intelligence and monitor the military's targets. The unit's veterans often go on to work at prominent cybersecurity companies or found their own startups. Israel has used cell phone data to monitor the movement of people in Gaza during the war. So, could lithium batteries be responsible? Well, maybe not. So, that's a discussion. But now the New York Times says unequivocally that Israel planted bombs in the pagers. Don't know what evidence they have. Small amounts of explosive were implanted in beepers that Hezbollah had ordered from a Taiwanese company, according to American and other officials briefed in the operation. But we've just heard the Taiwanese company claim that they did not provide them. They didn't provide the order. So it sounds like somebody's got their facts wrong. Shira Frankel and Ronan Bergman. Israel carried out its operation against Hezbollah by hiding explosive material within a new batch of Taiwanese-made pagers imported into Lebanon, according to American and other officials briefed in the operation. But according to other sources, this is bogus. The company did not produce them. They apparently were tampered with before they reached Lebanon, according to some officials. Most were the company's AR924 model. Now, folks, here's the AR942 or 24 model. Is it 924 or 942? 924, yeah. It's the Alpha Gold Alpha Pager 924. Now, what's ironic about this pager is it's their best-selling pager, right? The favorite compact alphanumeric pager is a comfortable mini size, features user-friendly interface, having a 4-line display with a clear blue backlight and 3 navigation buttons. Programmed with a long battery life, it is a perfect solution for dispatch centers, facilities, maintenance, engineering, healthcare facilities, power plants, oil plants, large factories, logistics facilities, and criminal operations, like T organizations. Here's the irony with this thing. Check it out, folks, as we zoom in here. I'm going to show you something about this here. Okay, you ready for this? You see this here? Oops, why is it not? It won't come over there. Okay, it's not. Here we go. This is what I want to do. Let me show you something here. Can you see that? The Gold Alpha Pager 924 end of life notice. Ouch. That sucks. End of life notice. The AL924 model is no longer available. Ooh. Yeah, well, end of life is what occurred for some of the users of this model of pager today. Well, yesterday now. End of life notice. Ouch. Their most popular, best-selling pager is no longer available. What are the odds, folks? What are the odds? Can you imagine that? Yes, I had a little sip of cappuccino here. A little Cabo's cappuccino. So I married an ex-murderer. Woman. Whoa, woman. Yeah, Mike Myers. So I married an ex-murderer. Campbell's cappuccino. That's the opening scene from that movie. There she goes. Anyway, yeah, longer it goes, the more tricks will be surfacing. Some individuals should have traveled internationally, and none of them got flagged by explosive detection. RJ. These were just delivered a couple of months ago in July. Hezbollah likely told the individuals not to leave the country with the devices. Don't travel in commercial aviation with the devices. If there were explosives in it. Dude, you got to quit reading too much into this. It's pretty simple. I mean, if they work for me and I was a T organization, I would say our logistics guys provided these. They're for use only here in country. Do not travel by commercial air. Don't go through airports. Don't go through security checkpoints with them. We only want to use them here. Not because they know explosives inside, but because they don't want them compromised. The last thing you want to do is have someone that's on a known watch list picked up in a third-party country and extradited back, and their things confiscated, and they find them with one of these devices. And then you've compromised operational security by leaving one of these devices outside your territory of operations in the hands of a hostile intelligence service, which would be, in our case, friendly intelligence services. So, yeah, you got to think this thing through, brother. Yes. But, yeah, if in fact the argument against them having explosive devices in it is that, yes, very possible that the Hezbollah T group did issue them to other people, and they didn't give any warnings about taking out of the country, and people flew around all over the world, to Tehran, to London, other terror destinations. Oop, did I say it out loud? Yeah, and they didn't have explosives, so it wasn't an issue, but they blew them up with the battery, so I don't know. Anyway, we got lots of supposition by so-called experts going on right now. Give me a moment to enjoy my Campbell's cappuccino. But that thing got warm or cold very quickly. Anyway, so, boy, people are very quiet here. Very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. So, Gold Apollo says it did not make that pager. Well, there you go. There is the founder and president of Gold Apollo, Su Ching-kwang, from Taiwan, the island of Formosa, says they didn't make the pagers. That wasn't us, man. Nope, wasn't me. Just like Shaggy said, wasn't me. Taiwan's Gold Apollo said today that the pagers that were used in the detonations in Lebanon were not made by a company called BAC, which has a license to use its brand. Oh, I'm going to bet that license got suspended today. At least 9 people killed, 3,000 wounded. Images destroyed pagers analyzed by Reuters showed the format stickers on the back that were consistent with the pagers made by Gold Apollo. Yep. Hezbollah ordered 5,000 pagers from Taiwan-based Gold Apollo. The product was not ours. It was only that it had our brand on it. Well, here's what I have to say. They ordered 5,000 and 3,000 exploded today. Well, I'll tell you what, if I had a Gold Apollo pager, I would be tossing that thing in the bin right now or dumping it in a water pit somewhere. Can you imagine? We only provide brand trademark authorization and have no involvement in the design or manufacturing of this product. So, wait a second. Wait a second. I mean, look, is it Gold Apollo? It's not like it's Hyundai or Sony or even Hisense, which is kind of well known these days. It's certainly not Motorola or Ericsson. So you're going to tell us that you don't even design the damn things? That someone just sticks your label on there, so they pay for the licensing for a brand from Taiwan that no one's ever heard of? I mean, look, these days people have heard of Acer, but 25 years ago, nobody heard of Acer, and so nobody would pay to put Acer brand name on their laptops. Today they might. I mean, certainly Taiwanese bought the ThinkPad brand name from IBM, and they labeled it. But, I mean, come on. Seriously? Someone pays you to license to use a name that nobody's ever heard of? I mean, that's like saying that people are using the Wyatt brand for their pagers. They just pay me because, I'm such a famous brand. Oh, give me a break. Wow. Hezbollah fighters began using these pagers in the belief that they'd be able to evade Israeli tracking of their locations. 2 sources familiar with the group's operations told Reuters this year. Iran said, Hezbollah said it was carrying out security and scientific investigation into the causes of the blast. Israel's Mossad agency planted explosives inside 5,000 pages imported by a Lebanese group months before Tuesday's detonations, according to a senior Lebanese security source and another source. And how do they know that? And why didn't they tell people about it before if they knew it? We may not be a large company, but we are a responsible one. This is very embarrassing, said Sue. Said they were a victim of the attack as well. Well, probably, because your company's probably going to go under, unfortunately for you. Hezbollah vows retaliation against Israel for the deadly pager explosions across Lebanon. The pagers used the coordinated attack against Lebanese militant group Hezbollah were not a militant group, a T group, were made by a European distributor for manufacturer Gold Apollo. Yep. And here's the innards of one of those. As part of Hezbollah's low-tech efforts to evade espionage, pagers were issued to operatives. They all explode at the same time. Yep. Well, what do you say? What do you say about that? You guys aren't saying much of anything at this hour. You must be tired. Early morning hours for some folks, and late night here on the East Coast. Chat is very quiet. Sedgefield's doing his best to keep the chat going. RJ's jumping in there too. Yeah, scientists said speech isn't free anymore. It definitely isn't. Speech has been curtailed, and it's under attack around the globe, particularly in the Western liberal democracies. How long can we call Germany, France, United Kingdom, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and Canada Western liberal democracies? They are very illiberal, fascist, totalitarian states. CB's getting ready for work. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough. Most people are doing something like this week. Cabela says, morning, I got a lot of work today. It's farm week. What does farm week mean? What does that mean, Cabela? Are you working on a farm? Is there like a farm market this week or something? Or what's going on? It is mid-September here. The soybeans are dying and turning yellow. The maize is turning yellow. It'll all soon be brown. It'll dry out. Eventually the harvesters and combines will come through, chop it all down, harvest the maize for cattle feed and production of who knows what else. Certainly not ethanol. That big production is in the Middle West, not here. And the soybeans will be used for all kinds of additives and poisoning our food. I don't care for soybeans. It's for soy boys, soy latte boys, not for real men and women. We are carnivores. Well, we're actually omnivores, but we certainly love being carnivores. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, that's we are coming to the end of our agricultural season, our normal agricultural season here in the temperate latitudes in the Northern Hemisphere. It is coming to an end very soon, folks. Everything will start turning brown, the leaves. All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray, and the sky is gray. And I'm not California dreaming, trust me. California is in my rearview mirror, and I don't need to live there again. Lived in California twice in my life. And I enjoyed the second time, but don't need to ever live in California again. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Saw some story in one of the newspapers today trying to lead people to believe that Texas is terrible. Well, we moved here from California because we were homeless, and now we can't wait to go back to California. Good. Go back. You're clearly not a conservative. Otherwise, you'd appreciate Texas. Excuse me. You're buying lamb and ostrich and newt's horn. Okay. Lynette says, thank you. Good morning, all. Thank you, Chris, for keeping this important updates. The world is much better. You're welcome, Lynette. This wasn't really a news update, though. We're just talking about some of the breaking news stories and just kind of a chat. It's a late night. That's why I have the lights down low. I have the lights down. Make it a little more intimate here. There you go. Yeah, but the picture wasn't look good. So we got the lights low. Yeah, turn the lights down. By the way, watched a really, really good series that came out last year. I watched it on Amazon Prime. It's called The Good Ship Murder. I don't know if that's what's called in the UK, but it's a UK production backed by a Hungarian film manufacturer or producer. Fantastic show. It's like The Love Boat, but it's not like The Love Boat. It involves murders, and all I can say is whatever this cruise line is, I'm never traveling on it because there's a murder on every episode. It's like I will never visit Cabot Cove, Maine. Yeah, when I do this, the camera can't keep up. So we'll go back to the mid-level. But Cabot Cove, where Jessica was at, Murder, She Wrote, never going to Cabot Cove because every week somebody got axed on that show. Tiny little town. Europe's grain crop might have gone down the drain with the floods. I don't think so, Keith. Poland's probably, but it certainly doesn't seem to have affected the Baltics. It hasn't affected Western Germany, France, and those places, what I can see. It's affected mostly everything from the Sudetenland, East Europe. From there, going east from Central to Eastern Europe. So maybe it did, I don't know, but it doesn't look like it hit the West that much. ADAP 2030 is just comment on this and likely price rise as well as shortages. We'll see. First off, Europe's grain crop doesn't amount to much. A hill of beans when it comes to grain. There aren't any European producers that are major producers. I mean, the major wheat producers are, of course, Ukraine, United States, Australia, among others. Wheat farm, we refer to it as helping each other, so I'm going to help my grandfather plant tomato. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Cabela. That's interesting to hear. That's not a term I'm accustomed to hearing. Okay. Potatoes and tomatoes, Santa's farms will take more than 7 hours. Quite a wide area. Okay, well, we got a lot of hard work ahead of you. Potatoes, potatoes and tomatoes are, I raised them in Ohio, and man, that stuff, both of those just grow like crazy. So with potatoes, you dig a furrow, you cut the potatoes up, make sure you get an eye on, if you can't get an eye on the slice, we call it an eye, that's a little root coming out, and you just put it in the soil, you pile a mound over it, pour the dough back up, and so you have like a little hillock where the potatoes are underneath that, and it gives them space to come up, and you water it. And tomatoes are easy. You just clear the soil, plant some seeds, and they just come up and they grow like crazy. If you're smart, you'll put some stakes out so the tomatoes can kind of latch on them, because the problem with tomatoes, the varieties we have been so refined over selective seed usage over time that the tomato plants are just so, well, they're sturdy, but the tomatoes are so big and they put so much weight on there that they have a hard time. So if you put stakes out, then they kind of cling to that, and kind of like peas when they grow, the vines grow on it. But yeah, E.C. Butterworth. What's E.C. Butterworth? I don't know what E.C. Butterworth is. I know what Mrs. Butterworth is. That's a syrup. Is that the brand? Eastern Cape Butterworth? Yeah, no, I, as a kid, I planted tomatoes, potatoes, green beans, pumpkins, maize, sweet corn. What else? Yeah, and then, of course, baled hay, milked cows, raised chickens, collected eggs, raised hogs, turkeys, ducks, rabbits, all that stuff. Yep. It was good stuff. It was a good way to be raised as a youth, learned responsibility, and it was good to learn, an interesting conversation with a lady tonight about when I was at the dignified flag retirement ceremony where we burn flags tonight. Lady was trying to make the point to me. She was being polite, but I know that she didn't really agree with where I was going, so I cut the conversation off too rather than start an argument. But she was trying to make the point basically that we as white people couldn't possibly know what it's like to be like a black person and the struggles to go through every day. And she's like, well, they, which I thought was, I'm not picking on the lady, and I won't identify the lady because she's very nice and genuine, but she said they. But I mean, that was kind of a red alert for me. They, who's they? You're going to classify 45 million people, but no, she's talking about black men. She said they, so that's 22.5 million people in America. They are basically inculcated and trained to be, constantly in fear. And I'm like, look, I grew up in all black neighborhoods. Nobody raised their kids that way, and none of them lived that way. So I can't speak for the whole country. I can't stereotype 23 million black men, but I can tell you that all the black men that I grew up with, they weren't raised that way. They didn't live that way. Very similar, man. All you mentioned, my grandfather was always teaching this. Oh, that's awesome, Cabela. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. So I don't know what you have, Cabela, but we have something called 4-H. 4-H, helping hearts, hands, something. Anyway, 4-H, and it's I forget, it's once as a kid a long time ago, but 4-H, it stands for, let me look it up real quick. But it was huge in Ohio, in the Midwest. Not so big here. 4-H, and we have a 4-leaf clover, which was the symbol, positive youth development and mentorship. 4-H is a U.S.-based network of youth organizations whose mission is engaging youth to reach their fullest potential while advancing the field of youth development. Well, that's not what we thought it was about farm stuff when I was a kid. Yeah, so it stands for head, heart, hands, and health. 4-H, yeah. Yeah, so its name is a reference to the occurrence of the initial letter H 4 times. in the organization's original motto, which was later incorporated into the Fuller Pledge adopted in 1927. It's administered by the National Institutes of Food and Agriculture, the United States Department of Agriculture. 4-H Canada is an independent nonprofit overseeing the branches in Canada. Began in 1902. Yep. And so, let me see. Yeah, I pledged my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Yep, 4-H. Yep. 4-leaf, green 4-leaf clover. Yeah, here's a picture one here. And that's 4-H. For those of you that don't, oops, that's not what I wanted. For those of you who don't know 4-H, that's what the emblem is. 4-H. Yeah, it was a big influence in my life, even though I was a member of a club for just a couple of years. Our club, each club has its own name. Our club was called Anything and Everything because it wasn't all just farm-based stuff. So, for instance, I did projects in 4-H like Ohio birds, so birds that were endemic to the state of Ohio. You studied them and did a project on them. I did Ohio birds, also had waterways. So I was already into conservation and doing projects as a teenager on water conservation in Ohio. Not exactly a place that needs water, but you should use water wisely. So I did that project. I did a number of projects, and I went to the county fair and competed. And actually, I came in first place in my county, Perry County, Ohio, in the 1981 Perry County Fair. And as a consequence, I got to go to the Ohio State Fair, and where I appeared for at least 3 of my projects, including the Ohio Birds Project. I went up there, and I didn't do very well. I got like a participation certificate, but I mean, it's a whole 88 counties in the state. So I went there, and I got to go to Johnny Cash. That was pretty cool. I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling round the track. It goes down, 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 that ring of fire, and it burns, burns, burns. Oh, the EC, or in Eastern Cape, near Buddy'sworth. Got it. Yeah, it's not a brand. So, yeah, Johnny Cash got a free concert. Johnny Cash, June Carter Cash, and their daughter were all there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, over 540,000 volunteers, leaders help coordinate 4-H programs at the county level around the country. Yep. So I'm looking to see what else they got here. So, yeah, 4-H. Here's their webpage. It's not very impressive. It's weird. So, about. Oh, yes, I'll accept your cookies. Give me your cookies. Yum, yum, yum. So, 4-H. This is like I'm trying to look too good. So, here are the programs. Agriculture. Now they do STEM, civic engagement, healthy living. Well, let's look at agriculture. Let's see what they come up with there. Equip young people with skills needed to succeed in life. Available at local clubs, schools, and grant-funded programs. Helping kids succeed. Okay. Environmental science and educational activities. That's what I did. Plant and animal science. I did that as well. Yep. So they didn't have any STEM when I was a kid. At least I don't remember it. Shop 4-H. Ooh, what can you get? Probably T-shirts. Buy more, save more. Ooh, look at that. There you go. I love that T-shirt. I should get one of those. Pins and recognition. Huh. Pins and recognition. Let's check that. Why are the pins not there? It says no pins. 1 year bronze pin. Well, I did it for 2 years. I want 2-year pin. Oh, there you go. There's the pins. I got that pin. That's what my pin looked like, something like that. It's a 10-year bronze member pin. I had a pin that was, I got to find that. I got it somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, 4-H, one of those civic organizations that makes a difference in society. It builds the bonds of society. Yep. Past there on the way to Mazeppa Bay. Okay. Nice beach next to Shell after Walter Sisulu University. You guys are chatting with each other. Okay, that's fine. Sorry. I've turned my channel into the chat, the Yahoo chat for you guys, or BlackBerry. Yeah, BBM chat. What was that? What used to be called? What did they call it on BlackBerry? Their talk. I forget what it's called. Anyway, yeah, BlackBerry was awesome. I hated Blackberries initially, but then they grew on me, and their disappearance was very disappointing. It was so sad to see them go. Yeah, BlackBerry had BBM. Somebody's trying to join the group again. This is the same guy that was putting crypto crap in there, buddy. You're not getting in. Sorry, I'm looking at one of the WhatsApp groups. The guy was dumping stuff. Lynette says, growing up on a power station out of town, as children, we had to get up very early to catch one bus to school. This was in the 60s and 70s. Became a habit to wake up early until now. Well, Lynette, I don't have habits when it comes to getting up or going to bed. I've had in my entire life had to have all kinds of sleep hours and all kinds of days. I've also gone days without sleep. I habitually went 72 to 96 hours without sleeping in my 20s and 30s because of military service. Typically during that stretch, if you go more than 48 hours, you've got to get something, and I would get 15-minute cat naps, and I'd be good to go. Yep. BBM, man, those data, what? Those data or those days? I think you're trying to say those days. Yeah, I miss BBM. BBM was awesome. BlackBerry. Yep. BlackBerry messaging. Yeah, BBM. That's what it was, BBM. Yeah, no, it was pretty cool stuff. But it was very effective. But I didn't like BlackBerries for a while because people acted like they were status symbols. But then when I had to use one for work, it was like, oh, this is kind of handy. Yeah. But the problem is that the BlackBerry Corporation, which wasn't BlackBerry, it was Research in Motion, RIM. RIM was very stubborn and arrogant as a Canadian company. They refused to be adaptive, and they kept their operating system, Symbian system, closed, and so people couldn't produce apps for it. So when Android came along, it just destroyed them. It absolutely destroyed them. People think it was Apple that buried BBM. No, it was Android that buried BBM and buried BlackBerry. Yep, wiped them out. And Nokia was wiped out by their arrogance. They used the same. I'm sorry, wait. No, Research and Motion used their own system. It was Nokia that used Symbian. I'm sorry. Yeah, Nokia wouldn't license their stuff either, so people couldn't make apps for it. And so developers were left out in the cold. So if it wasn't developed by them, you pretty much couldn't get it. Yep. You get what now? You get what now? Why BBM and why Nokia? Well, Nokia didn't disappear, but Nokia is not the giant that it once was. But Nokia is an interesting story because Nokia was actually a timber company and then a smelting and iron works and stuff like that. They were shipbuilding, they did all kinds of things. They were an industrial conglomerate that was kind of just, clunking along. And then they got into electronics, and then they pioneered the cell phone industry. Motorola actually pioneered it, but they screwed the pooch. Motorola for years was stubborn and refused to migrate to digital, and they stuck with analog. And so when GSM took off, because it became the standard in Europe, Motorola was left with its pants around its ankles, getting it up the backside. And Motorola wound up being an also-ran company that Christopher Galvin, son of the founder or grandson of the founder, drove into the ground. I know because I was a Motorola shareholder. My shares are worth almost nothing in the end. Now, many, many years later, 2 decades later, my shares from the split out from the buy from Google, who bought out their patents, my initial stock investments back to where it was in 1990. Oh, yeah, BlackBerry, because it was closed. Yeah, they didn't share. And so, look, I mean, there's a risk when you open up your operating system to developers is that people expose the code, and they'll copy your system, stuff like that. There's ways around that, but there is a risk. But when you keep it a closed network and no one can develop apps for it, then you have a problem, folks. See, like Microsoft didn't want people developing browsers because they had their own crappy Internet Explorer browser, which nobody liked. It was atrocious. Gosh, I remember the early versions of Internet Explorer. So rudimentary, so pathetic. Netscape was light years ahead of Internet Explorer when it was out there. And even back then, the POP3 client, the Post Office Protocol client for email, was from Netscape. I forget the name of it. What the hell was it called? But that client was brilliant. That's the best software, the best email client I ever had. Outlook sucks. Outlook sucks ass. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, it's a memory intensive pig, and the way that it manages stuff is just terrible. The Outlook, the interface, I don't like Outlook. It's functional, but I think it was Messenger. I think they called it or whatever it was. But what was the Netscape suite? That was let me see, Netscape. Okay, let's see. Netscape Mail. It wasn't called Netscape Mail. Netscape is still around. Wow. Netscape Mail. It wasn't called that, was it? Initial release 1995. Netscape Mail Newsgroups features support for relevant protocols such as IMAP, POP3, and SMTP. The built-in Bayesian spam filter. Initially, its development was overseen in-house, but following AOL's purchase in 1998, its code base was handed over to Mozilla Foundation. Yep. I thought it had a different name. There was like a Thunder or something like that. I forget. Netscape Navigator. Thunderbird. That came later. Okay. Yeah. Huh. That was Mozilla. Netscape Messenger 9. That's the one. Maybe it was Netscape Messenger. That's what it was. Netscape Navigator 9 discontinued, but I'm looking for Messenger. Netscape Internet Service. There's an ISP called Netscape Internet Service. Good Lord. Netscape Mail. Is this web-based? Oh, it's AOL. There's my username. Do I still have an account with these guys? No way I have an account with them. I mean, I had AOL like anybody else. Is that a bus? Okay. Well, if I have an account still, it's going to send me an email. Let's see if I have an account there. That's going to be hilarious. I doubt that I do. No, nothing there. It says if you have an account, you'll get a code. Let me see if it went to spam folder. I don't think I have one. It's a long time ago. Wouldn't that be something, though, if I still had an account there? There's no way. No, there's nothing coming there. Anyway, but it did take my email as if I'd been there. But yeah, Thunderbird, open source email client. Yeah. Free your inbox, Thunderbird. Email client contacts that maximize your freedoms. Yep, Thunderbird. Yeah, that's a lot better. I wonder if it lets you hook up the webmail. If it does, I would probably use Thunderbird. Thunderbird was great. But yeah, Netscape was the best. I mean, I'll tell you what, there was nothing like those pioneering days, the early days of the internet back in the day. Fengu from the tribe that ran away from Shaka, settling. But oh, gotcha, Cabello. Okay. Oh, Mfengu. I actually, that's it wasn't really a tribe. People coalesced as a tribe and actually fought with the Boers and with the Brits against the Xhosa repeatedly. They were the most reliable troops, but unfortunately, the Brits didn't trust them. And then, despite the fact that they gave many, many thousands of lives in defending those communities, their promised land, their given land, in the something area begins with a K, but you can't say that word anymore in South Africa. K something area. They had land there that was their land, and they were armed, and they were called up. Their levies would turn up and fight, and they were the most reliable and the best troops at hunting out the Xhosa. And then, after the Xhosa were essentially destroyed militarily, the Brits disarmed them. Such a betrayal. Such a betrayal. Mfengu. Yeah. Such a betrayal. Yep. Absolute betrayal. Yeah, shameful. They counted them to, defeat the Xhosa repeatedly in conflict after conflict, and they just screwed them over. Yep. Well, thank you for sharing that, Cabello. That's pretty cool to know, man. Awesome. So glad you're here. Really do appreciate hearing that sort of thing. I try to bring folks, a wide variety of stuff in South Africa, but because of the hate mail that I get and people lie about me, sometimes it's difficult to get some folks on. We used to have a lot more black South Africans on the program, but we've had Sia and Gobisi on here, Dumodenga, and Koketse Rotsane, Zuzu. We've had a bunch of black South Africans on here, but not of late. But then we haven't had many guests on of late. Yesterday was my first guest in a while, so yeah. Hey, O'Rourke, how's it going, man? I'm Mfengu. Cabela, it's really cool. Anyway, yeah, so, I started my channel with all openness and tried to include all kinds of people, but people put you in a bubble. They look at you and go, okay, that guy's a Boer. He's only going to talk to the Afrikaners. No, I talk to everybody, and I like to promote Tswana, Afrikaans, and Sotho. So if you've gone to the Sotho Cultural Village in the Free State, in the Golden Gate Park, or on the edge of the Golden, it's actually in the Golden Gate Park, and actually did a video there, but nobody watched it. What does he say there? I got to get back over here. Sorry, because this damn thing. Well, man, you know a lot. We should invite you. We'll tell you soon. All right. Cabela, absolutely. But Eastern Cape's not a place I get too much. I don't know where you're at. But yeah, I'd love to talk to you about the Amfengu. Be great. I actually have a line on talking to the Nama, the Vidboy Nama, but I haven't got a response back. In fact, that reminds me, that gentleman owes me an answer. So he promised to come on. So let me see if I've got any response back here. I was waiting for a response, but I've been so busy booking guests and taking care of other business. Not to mention this VFW nonsense. Let me see. So let me see. It was Simon. I am. Okay, so there. Oh. Okay, send that. Okay, and the other guy. Sorry, folks. Trying to get you some interesting folks here. And both the people actually trying to communicate with now, one happens to be black, one happens to be colored. Both of whom have promised to come on the program, and I haven't seen from them. It's been a few weeks. So just, hey, Gary, what's up? So I'm just trying to check up on those folks. Yeah. So I try to bring interesting people. One of my desiring guests I still want to get on the program, and I'm desperate to make something happen soon, is Oma Katerina Esau, the last first language speaker of New Khoi language. She resides in Uppington, is approaching 89 years of age, last I heard, and I don't know the status of that. I really, really would like to talk to her and interview her. And I hope people are recording everything she says in New, catching as much as you can on audio tape. Just having her talk, tell stories. Even if she talks nonsense, get it all down. Get it down. Save the language. Oh yes, Sedgefield. Yes, his name Kwacha does sound like Zambian and Malawian currency, but the Kwacha is spelled differently for those countries. Sedgefield says King Paulie Swartboy. I haven't reached out to that person. I'm reaching out to the Vid Boys, so I don't know any Swat Boys, but reaching out to the Vid Boys. Yeah, no, the Mfakani was horrible stuff. But hey, we built a airport honoring the great massacre in Chief King Shaka. Late to the response on explosive detection. Thank you for your response. That's why I trust you. Well, RJ, I don't know. What I'm just saying is that the media are getting analysts to make the claim, and they're confirming that's the case. We don't know that's the case. We don't know it was intercepted. No one has evidence of that. No one's stating they have evidence. So they're just claiming that's the case. We don't know if the batteries were overheated or blown up, but given the fact that it happened all roughly around the same time within an hour of the explosions, it would seem to indicate that there was some sort of remote detonation that took place with a signal sent to a device and something inside exploded. So it's very plausible, and they may very well be correct. But the problem is that Hezbollah is already making threats, and they don't have evidence of anything. But this is what happens when people rush to judgment. For instance, I suspect that a European, spy agency is the one that's responsible for blowing up, or military engineers for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, or maybe even, and they probably did it with the approval of the Biden regime, and everyone's forgotten about that, So, the Germans have sky-high electricity prices because they have no gas to heat their homes, and so they have to use electricity. Idiots. British had problems with controlling cattle raiding, both in peacetime as well as taking as additional payment after battles, I think, with both Boers and Black. Yeah, that's true, Keith. They did. They did. They're building massive bridge in the Cape, $5 billion. What's this? $5 billion. What's this bridge at? Regardless, it makes the T group look bad. Oh, it does. It makes them look pretty amateur hour. Our diverse range of languages in Africa need to be preserved and appreciated. Well, Gary, I did a video on that today talking about the Bella education, and I'll be doing it on Tuesday. I'm doing it again today and Wednesday. Today I'll be talking to Neil DeBeer about that, also about the government national unity. So yeah, looking forward to that. But yeah, so Look, folks, if you have any doubt about whether this channel is harassed by YouTube and it's intentionally hidden, all you have to do is look at my appearances on Business. 50,000, 100,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000 views, 100,000 views on the interviews I do on there. And even on Megaphone Sports, the rugby channel, at 10,000. And we're getting habitually 3,000 to 5,000 views, 6,000 views on every one of the interviews I do over there. Yet on this channel, same content. Rugby Senate, 50,000 people watch one of my broadcasts. Yeah, so that should tell you something. But if you're being suppressed in this fashion, you know that you're over the target. Yeah, so what did I miss there? Oh, I thought I missed something. Cabello says, you know a lot. I do know a lot, Cabello. I sure do. Sure do. That wasn't a boastful statement. It's just a statement of fact. But, yeah, so I got to post these photographs. Let me show you guys. Maybe I can pull this up. I'm sorry I didn't put it on the computer, but I'll see if I can't find this. That's 25 seconds. Okay. So, let's see. So you have to fold the flag properly. So that gentleman is showing the scouts how to fold the flag properly so that the stars are up on the end, and then they take them back and they put each one into the fire. So that's pretty cool. So that was earlier this evening. Yeah, fires got pretty big, man. Check this out. Little kids standing next to the fire, and that's where they're burning the flags at. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Well, some pretty big flames there. There's another one. So, anyone want to guess what my first question was when I arrived there? So I arrived there. I helped carry some of the flags up from the parking lot, up through the trail, onto there's an amphitheater there built into the side of a hill. And anyone want to guess what my first question was before we got ready to burn the flags? Anybody? What do you think my first question was? We all got questions, right? What do you think my first question might have been? Somebody give it a thought there for a second. Well, it's alive, RJ, but I wouldn't say it's well. There should have been many more people there at that event. I posted the event on the Veterans website on Facebook last week as an event. And then I did an update today with another photograph inviting people in. Virtually nobody was there. Only 3 veterans were there. Well, 4 veterans. One is a scout leader, and he was there as a scout leader, but only 3 were there as actual VFW folks. 2 of us were officers and 1 was a member. So, oh man. Wow, that's really annoying. That was really annoying. If it buffered, it was on my end. What is going on here? I'm going to restart my router tonight because this is really getting irritating. I don't think that's the problem, though. So I'm doing a quick speed test. It's telling me I got 944 megabytes per second download. So I shouldn't have had a problem. Yep. Okay, 944 is the speed. Let me do the upload. That's where the issue is, though. No, so that's 17, 18 megabytes per second, so it shouldn't be an issue. So somebody's dicking around with me. Somebody's harassing my stuff. So sorry about that, folks, if you got dropped off there. Yep, but we're back now. Let me just do a double check. I'm going to count, and then I'll watch on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's already there. So we're back live. Yeah, I'm within a second there. Yeah, no, so I was never a Boy Scout, but I was in Pennsylvania a Cub Scout. That's the young ones first. And then you go to Weeblos. And I was a Weeblo for a little bit there. Yeah, it could be the Mossad coming after me. So I was a Weeblo, but then I moved to Ohio and wasn't in the Scouts, and so I never became a Boy Scout. Yes, it just wasn't available to me. But I did do in Ohio 2 things as a youth that were civic-minded and focused. Number 1 was the 4-H, and then the second was I was in the Civil Air Patrol, which is a pretty cool organization. Yeah, tech gremlins are definitely targeting me. It's definitely been a strange week with this stuff. So anyway, crazy stuff. Yeah, but we didn't lose the connection. I'm surprised. YouTube kept that going for about 40 seconds despite not getting any data. Usually drops you off by then. So I'm glad we stuck around. But thank you all for being here. We lost a few people. Sorry. People faded by the wayside there. Anyway, All right. Well, folks, it's been an hour. I just wanted to do a, Night Owls from the East Coast, touch base with you all. And, is that how you do it? How you do that? You do that little heart there. You do the heart there. How you do the heart? Hearts out to P. Diddy tonight. Stay strong in prison, brother. Don't bend over. Good Lord. Yeah, P. Diddy. Has anybody got some baby oil? I need some baby oil. It's a freak off night here at it's a freak off night. Just need a little baby oil, that's all. Last night I left my phone over here charging. I fell asleep. I was exhausted. And then my alarm started going off this morning. I'm like, damn, I got to get up and go get that. Yeah, so anyway, don't be surprised if you see me a little shiny next time. You could come on air, a little bit shine on the face, arms a little slick looking. It's just the baby oil. It's just the baby oil. And in case you weren't sure, folks, I mean, I just, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this, folks. I mean, just it's just important. It's important to remind people this every chance we get. So we look over here. You ready?
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
It's a fucking goat. No, baby, it's just a goat. No, it's a fucking goat. All right, so I'm all hopped up on caffeine now at 1 o'clock in the morning. But you want to know what? I'll go down. I'll stick on Are You Being Served on my BritBox, and I'll doze off. Oh, gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sorry, RJ, now you have to go to work. Well, that's what I'm doing now, but it's more like enjoyable time, not less work, more enjoyment than work. All right, I'm off to the rack, and you all have a lovely, lovely morning if you're in South Africa. And if you're in New Zealand, enjoy your evening because it's 5 o'clock in Wellington. In Sydney, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In Perth, it's just a little afternoon at 1 a.m. So it's 12 hours difference right now. 1 p.m., I should say. All right, everybody have a good one. And don't forget, folks, it's not a goat, it's an effing goat. Mike, what are you doing up at 1 o'clock in the morning here in Pennsylvania? I got to reset my router because it is acting up. All right, folks, be safe out there. God bless. Have a good night. We'll see you later on. Cheers. All right, bye-bye. It's an effing goat. Oh, you can't say stuff around kids, man. This is what happens. You just can't do it. They latch on to everything, man. Oh, you have insomnia. No, I was working, so thought I'd do a East Coast Night Owls. So anyway, no. Kids just latch on to everything, man. You cannot say stuff around. People just so careless with their words. They're so careless with the words. Let me make sure I turn that off. Don't want the effing goat to come up every time I start this thing. Where's it at? Did I turn it off? Where'd it go? Yeah, it's off. Okay. In the software, if you don't put the X out on it, then it keeps coming up every time. We don't need that. We don't need that. All right, folks. Good night. You guys take care. God bless.